very, very long vacation. So I was about 7, I think, when my parents decided to start working out the papers so we can get a resident. So I didn't know what it was. I just knew that we were going place to place, like taking pictures, having my how you call this, the digital thingy magickies. Yeah, the fingerprints. Sorry, taking out the fingerprints and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, whatever. So then months later, they told me we're going on a vacation, and I was like, what? I was like happy and excited. I was like, where? And they were like, oh, we're going to New York. And I was like, wow, I'm going to a place that I have never been before. And me being a kid, I didn't travel a lot. Only sometimes I used to travel inside the country, and also being from a kid from Cuenca, Ecuador, and didn't know. I just was excited about the experience and all of that. So then ideas came into my mind. Like for example, was it gonna be new? It was New York gonna be like the movies, or is gonna be different? How beautiful is it gonna be, and stuff like that. So then days passed. The tickets, planes came. They showed me that my parents showed me the tickets, planes, and we started packing our bags. Then I went to each of my family, which I have a really long, big family, and saying goodbye, saying see you soon. Bring me this, bring me this. I want this. Can you find this? I'm this size. I'm medium. I'm large. I'm small. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure, sure, whatever. I'll try. So then we got to the airport, and I saw a plane. I saw a big plane, and I was just like, "Are we gonna get into that?" And my parents were like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Are you sure?" And they were like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, so." Okay, let me relax. Let me go in. It was my first time on a plane, and I was nervous. I think I was more nervous than I'm right now. Okay, so yeah, we got into the plane, and once they told me, okay, sit there, and I was sitting next to the window, and then I think I started kind of like shaking, and I didn't know what was gonna happen. I was like, oh my god, and then I just felt the movement of the plane. I was like, oh, we're moving, oh, we're moving, oh, and then we went up, and then I felt something in my stomach, like I think kind of tickled, stuff like that. I was like, oh, that was an experience. So then we traveled, and then we were like 6 hours on the plane. I was like, oh, I want to get out. It's so annoying now. I don't like it anymore. So then, um, I think the good thing about my vacation was that I had to miss some weeks of school, and I was like, yes, no more school for weeks. Yes. So then, oh, okay. So then after that, we got out of the airplane, and we went to check our bags, and then we got out of the immigration. We passed through immigration, and then we went out with our bags, and then I see some people in standing at the end of the line where there's a lot of people like waiting for their families to come out and everything. I see some people there, like, and then no, my dad goes and hugs. Then I was like, whoa, who are they? I was like, do I know you? Should I know you? And then I started recognizing a little bit of the faces because there was my grandmother, my aunt, my uncle, and they used to come sometimes to Ecuador, not all the time, like nearly never. So I barely remember them. And then I just saw them there, and they just started hugging me. I was like, hi. I was just standing like, okay, hi. So then they passed. I went to a lot of places here. I remember that coming here, it was really awesome. I went to the Statue of Liberty. Oh, wait, okay. I went to the Statue of Liberty. I went to Times Square. I went in the afternoon. It was almost night. And I remember standing there, and it was getting darker and darker, but you couldn't feel the darkness because of all those TVs all around you and seeing the lights. And they were like, I was like, wow. This is awesome. So yeah, it was nice. So then we went. I went to other places, and the good thing was also that my family that I didn't know much, they bought me a lot of stuff. They were like, I saw it. We went to Toys R Us, and I was like, oh my god, I like that toy. You want it? Come on, get it, get it. And they used to put it in the car. I was like, oh, this is a nice game. I like that. I like that. I want that. And they used to get like almost everything I got. I was like, yes, I have new toys now, which I never played with them. So what's the point? So yeah, so time passed, and then it was time for me to go back to Ecuador. We were packing our bags, and I just saw we were packing our bags, me and my mom, and there were only 4 bags. And when we came to this country, there were 6. So I was like, oh, whatever. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's one, just bags. I don't care. So then time passed, and it was the date of our flight, and we were in the airport. We were getting our plane ticket, like, because you buy it online, we got a paper, and then, oh, you go to all the process are too hard to explain. So then, and then we were near where there's this place where you go, and then only the people who are going to board the plane can pass. Yeah, the gates, and the rest had to stay back. So then we were near there, and then I just saw my mom crying, and then she's like, say bye to your dad. And I was like, what? What do you mean say bye to my dad? And it's like, yeah, give him a hug and a kiss and say bye. And I was like, and then I just turned around and was like, what? What do you mean? I was like, are you coming with me? Are you coming with us? Why? What's happening? And then my dad gets on his knees, and then he's like, I have to stay. And I was like, why? Is there something? And I was like, did I do something wrong? What was the problem? And then my dad is like, I'm going to stay because I'm going to work, and so I can make a little more money and send it to you and your mom. And I was like, I don't care about the money. I just want you. I want us to be together. And then I started crying and crying, and I started screaming. I was like a little kid. I was screaming, and I didn't wanna get away from my dad. And I was like, what's gonna happen now? How is it gonna be? And then it was time for us to get to our plane. And then my dad hugs me, and I hug him back, and I was like hugging him so hard. I didn't want to let go, and something that really broke my heart. And I was like, oh, how is it gonna be now? And then my mom took my hand and said, let's go. We were walking to the gate, and then I turned around, and I just saw my dad standing there crying and waving goodbye. And that broke my heart even more. And I was like, damn. Now the way back on the plane, it wasn't so fun, and it felt even longer. It felt more than 6 hours, and I remember seeing, like, I just felt me crying, the desperation of my dad staying in another country, really far away from me and my mom, and I just saw my mom crying as well, and I didn't know what to do. So then, once we got to Ecuador, we arrived to Ecuador. We got down off the plane, and we got our bags, and I just remember going out and seeing my grandmother and my grandfather standing there. And then my grandfather comes near me and hugs me, and he said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No." I just moved my head and said no. And then he hugged me. I started crying even more. After that, I don't remember more because I fell asleep. And then the next day I had to go back to school, and I didn't feel like going to school. I didn't feel like doing anything, so I just stayed home alone. And imagine me, a 7-year old, is staying in a home, a 3-floor home by myself with nobody. And I just remember walking to my mom and dad's room and opening the closet and seeing my dad's clothes. And I just started crying even more. And it felt so hard. So then, time passed, and I started doing bad at school. My grades were going lower and lower and lower every time. Um, and not only that, his my birthday came up. I was turning 8, and then his birthday came up. Then Christmas came up, New Year's Eve, and then all these events start coming up, and every event hurt more. The distance, I felt more distance every time, not seeing my dad, hearing him once a week just through a phone, not even seeing him. It was harsh. So then, during that time, my mom got an operation because she had something on her ear ovaries. So they took some things out, and I really don't know what was that. So then, and it was difficult, I think, for my mom more because during that time, I like right now at this age, I think of how it would have been if my dad would have been there. He would have helped my mom. My dad would have been there cooking for my mom, asking her, "Are you okay? Do you need this? Do you need that?" And it wasn't like that. It was my grandmother sometimes coming and seeing my mom, "Are you okay?" Or sometimes my aunt coming and saying, "Are you okay? Do you need this?" But it wasn't all the time. And sometimes there was times where my mom needed something and I didn't know what to do, or she had pain and I didn't know what to do. And then me being alone, I didn't even know how to use a phone. I was like, was so stressful and stuff like that. So then my mom got a letter from a school saying that my principal needed to talk to her. Then she went to school. My principal said that I was doing bad at school and that every time my grades were going lower. And then my mom, they asked me why, and I was like, I think it's because of my dad, because I don't have him here anymore. And then after a while, I think few weeks later, my mom was like, "Oh, we're going back to New York to see your dad." And I just saw my smile. I felt a big smile. I couldn't stop smiling. I couldn't. I was counting the days so it could come the time to go see my dad, and I was so happy and excited. Then it was time for us to go over there. So okay, it was the same process, packing our bags, the same feeling of in me in the airplane and everything. So then we got there, and then we got out of immigration and everything, and I see my dad standing there, him smiling, and tears coming down his face, and I was like, my God, that's my dad. I went running to him. I jumped on top of him and then hugged him, and I didn't want to let go. And then my mom, I think she got a little annoying because she wanted to hug him too, but I was sitting in front of her like, nope, he's mine. Get out. And then then weeks passed, and then my dad had to get hospitalized, and I didn't know why, but then my aunt told me, or I think it was my mom, they told me that he has a kidney problem. And I was like, what? What is that? And it was like, it's a problem that it means that he kidney is not working that much, and the other one it's also malfunctioning. And a way to him to get better, he has to get a transplant. I was like, a transplant? They're like, yeah, an operation. I was like, oh, okay. And then they told me, and then they put him something here. I think it was a catete. I don't know how to say that in English. Yeah, catheter. They put something here near his heart so they could take out the blood and then clean it, and then it goes around in a machine, big machine, so he can get dialysis and all those things. So then, because of that, my mom and dad decided that it was time for me and my mom to stay in this country with him, so he wouldn't be alone. And it was at the beginning of the first year, I think I was so excited and happy, like, oh, I'm staying here with my dad, we're back together, my family is back together again, I can be with both of them, everything's gonna be so much better. But no, things got worse. um, from 8 to, I think I was around 12. No, for, yeah, 12, around those age, I got bullied when I went to school. I was bullied, and I started getting depression. I got low self-esteem, and those are things that I have till now. And then at age 14, I had a sister already. Her name is Haiti. She's 7 now. And I think it brought some light and hope to our lives. Just seeing a newborn baby, it was so happy. I was so happy. And yeah, and then I went back to Ecuador with my mom. She was pregnant again with my other sister. And then we were in Ecuador, and my dad stayed here again. Our family got separated again. And it was hard, but not that hard because I guess now that I had a new um, idea in front of me of saying now I have a little sister who I have to take care of because I'm the oldest. So then, and others, and my other sister is coming on her way, and I have to take care of them. But then now my dad is worse with his sickness. Now he has a heart problem, which they're tracking, and hope, I just hope he gets better. And my mom's not here. My sisters are not here neither. They're in Ecuador. And once again, my family, it's apart. But now my sisters are coming in May, and I hope everything gets back to normal. And I hope my family gets back together and could be the way it used to be. Thank you.